Hey, Jen. This isn't quite working as I planned out. I was hoping this would capture more of my working space at the same time and not just me. Shit. That's okay. Give me a second. Shut up. I'm glad you're enjoying it, though. Yeah, no. There is no distance I can put this that will capture both me and my working space. Great. I really do. I really, really do. Let me get rid of the chat. Hide chat. There we go. I can still see you, of course. I'm a nerd, and let me show you actually. I got my computer set up here so I can follow chat at the same time without having to show off waste space on my screen. No, you're still here. Don't worry about it. All right. So you are the only person right now, so I'm not going to do a fancy intro or anything. But my name is Gata, and I have no idea what the fuck I'm doing. I do know that I want to make ice cream cone cupcakes, which I had the recipe card with a picture on it to show you, and now that I'm actually streaming, I can't see shit. All right, well, c'est la vie. I'm not sure if I want this to be like a tutorial thing where I like explain what I'm doing as I'm doing it, or if I just want to have a really chill, really quiet, just, you know, hey, I'm making cupcakes. Watch me make cupcakes, and that's it. Pull this back a bit. Ah, well. As far as I'm concerned, this is only the first one, so if it's absolute shit, then c'est la vie. I had a knife and everything. God. I was really hoping I could get my face in this, but oh well. So, Jen, you've heard me talk about my cupcakes quite a bit. And you're probably wondering why the hell I've opened a box mix. A lot of people see me go for these, and they crinkle their noses up at me. And they go, ugh, you make it from a mix? As if that somehow, like, unvalidates. I keep wanting to answer aloud. No, I can see you. But yes. Where was I? Shit. Yeah, box mixes. A lot of people, when I say, oh yeah, I know, I start from a box mix and I start tinkering with it a little bit, they turn up their noses at me and they're like, oh, you start from a box mix. That it invalidates the cupcakes. Well, no, actually. This is something that I actually have to worry about with my wife too. She's like, why don't you start from absolute scratch? You got to start from absolute scratch. The flour, the baking soda, all of that. And cakes are just chemistry. Like, they're super fancy chemistry, but they are just chemistry. And if you don't get chemistry absolutely 100% right, it can cause some really, really funky results. So with the cake mixes, because they are a product that they want to sell, they want to make sure that anybody, literally anybody, can make a cake. This means, no, I am not good at chemistry at all. That's why I use the box mix. That's the point I'm getting at. I don't know if I should turn the camera up so you can see my face or not. I'm gesturing with my hands, but I don't think like anything else is really happening on the screen. Oh well. No, I'm not good at chemistry, and that's why I use the box mix. Because the cake companies have done their homework. They have done all the testing, all the fiddling to make sure they have the exact amount of everything so that no matter what someone does, they can still result in a good cake. Because you think about it, the people who buy cake mixes, you know, aside from me, You'll just have to use sign language. No, that's not, I'm not that fluent. I only ever learned just enough to communicate with my dad back in the day, and I'm super rusty. But yeah, they make these cake mixes so they're absolutely foolproof. If you add too much water, that's fine. If you add too little bit of egg, that's okay. If you mix it too much, mix it too little, that's cool. The whole point of it is that anyone can make a cake. Yes, Jun, even you. As long as you follow the instructions. Now, the difference between the average person, like you making a cake, and someone who wants to make super fancy cupcakes like me, not that I'm saying that you can't make super fancy cupcakes, I'm just saying, is that just making it to the specifications on the box will get you just your average cupcakes. You have to pretty it up, fancy it up, mix with it a little bit to get exactly what you want. Honestly, I'm going to make a drastic statement here. I don't have the numbers to back this up, but as far as I can tell, most bakers start with some sort of pre-made mix. And maybe not Duncan Hines, maybe not something you could actually find like in the grocery aisle, but they start with a cake mix that they did not make themselves because it's just simpler. It's easier, it's faster, and they can add whatever they want to it to make it anything. I'm starting with a white cake mix, as you can see here. Because the only difference between a white cake mix and a yellow cake mix really is coloring. The white cake mix requests that, no, not Betty Crocker. No, never Betty Crocker. No, thank you. No, thank you. I use Duncan Hines. Let me show you here real quick. Duncan Hines is my personal favorite. Yes, as a Homestuck, I understand the implications. But no, not Betty Crocker. If you like Betty Crocker, that's fine. I don't. I find that Betty Crocker tends to come out not so flavorful. Like, they make cakes, but it's not like you don't eat it and you think, I enjoyed eating this cake. Similar with, say, Pillsbury. Pillsbury cakes always come out so fucking dry, no matter what I do to it. Duncan Hines, I find, is a good medium. I can mess around with it, play with it a little bit, without losing any of its, where I put the butter. It's back here. Can I get it without, oh God. No, Ramon, I'm not making funfetti cupcakes. I mean, I could, honestly, I could. I got the sprinkles right here. Ramon, how did you find this stream? I didn't link you to it. Well, I'm not saying that you're not welcome. I'm just saying that I didn't... Oh, shit, right. You do follow me on Twitter, don't you? Well, that'll do it. Ramon is magic, yes. What was I saying? I was saying something before Ramon popped up. No, I'm not going to make a funfetti cake. Mostly because I don't think Duncan Hines actually offers a funfetti cake. That's more of a Pillsbury thing, to my knowledge. And as I was telling June a second ago, I don't fuck with Pillsbury. Their cakes are always so goddamn dry. But what I do is I use, yes, cake mix. I was just telling Jun, you showed up a little bit late. Cake mix. Perfectly balanced, perfectly tailored to make sure that any old person can make a cake without fucking it up too much. You beat it too much, that's cool. A little too much water, that's cool. But the trick is not just using the recipe on the back of the box. You gotta add some stuff to it in order to get a really good cake. I'm still working on my personal recipe, which isn't really all that fancy, honestly. It's simply switching out the water with milk, switching out the oil with actual butter, and doubling it. And the most important part, in my opinion, using my own personal cakes. I don't know who all is here, but if you guys have heard me talk about the chickens that I raise, the layers that we have, their eggs are about, I'd say, 1.5 times the size of a regular egg. And farm fresh eggs, there is a big difference between farm fresh eggs and stuff you get in the supermarket. The yolks are more yellow, they're more robust. And I personally feel like you can taste the difference in the cake. So I am going to... I don't have a mute button. This is going to get loud for a second, guys. Sorry. Sorry. Yeah, I didn't think that through. I'll work on it. I'm currently streaming this from my cell phone, which means I do not have near as many as of the abilities as someone streaming from their desktop would. I'm working on getting a proper camera, one that's in line with the one on my phone, because the only... Yes, this is what testing is all about. Finding what doesn't work, blasting everybody's eardrums with high-pitched re, and then if you have any friends left over, trying again. Yes, valuable lessons, including keeping the paper towels in range. But no, you guys may have noticed that I just shoved an entire stick of butter in there. Technically speaking, most recipes that I've seen have called for melted butter, like fully liquid butter. But if you stick a stick of butter in the microwave and you don't microwave it just long enough, you end up like cooking the butter, which doesn't... Yeah. El Fantôme Slamour. Who are you? Like, how do I know you? I don't want to say the name El Fantôme Slamour every time I want to refer to you. Oh, now they go quiet. Guess! Ha! Never mind. Next go. Sorry, guys. 1 second. All right, and there is that. Tastes great already. Love it. Let me put this out of the way. All right, and voila, the cake batter. Yes, melted butter. If you microwave it for a bit too long, or try to melt it, say, over a stovetop, you run the risk of accidentally cooking it. Once it starts to brown in a cake, it's pretty much no good. It alters the flavor, alters the texture. It's not a fun time. Not a fun time for anyone involved, especially me. Therefore, when I let my butter stick sit out for the frosting, I include the butter that's going to go... Oh, hello, Wrigley. I include the butter that is going to go in the cake batter. Now, you can't see this. Unfortunately, there's no way for me to properly explain this, but because I use the softened stick butter and I folded it in instead of melting it, it actually gives the cake batter a bit more dimension. It starts to puff up a little bit. This is great because it means that there are more, there'll be more air bubbles in the, oh hi Red, there'll be more air bubbles in the final cupcakes, which makes them light and fluffy, and also it means the batter will go a bit farther. If I were to make a cake mix just using oil and water and a regular egg, I would barely get 24 cupcakes. If I'm very lucky and I ration out every drop of the batter by switching it up into milk and actual butter and my proper eggs, it puffs the batter out just a little bit, so I can usually get closer to 4.5 sets. So I do 6 sets a piece, so 2.5 dozen, let's say. I'm glad you feel like you're learning something, because I feel like I'm floundering here. Alright then, so have the cake batter. Now, we are making ice cream cone cupcakes. I showed these to Jun earlier because they were the only one in the stream. But what we are going to be doing is putting cupcake batter into these ice cream cones, so that when they cook, they kind of puff over the edge a little bit, and it looks like a dollop of ice cream on top. Since I am only testing, I will admit, these are kind of shit ice cream cones. Like, I bought these very recently, and they've already started to break apart. But I kind of expected that, since again, this is just a test. If I want to start making these for like events and whatnot, then I'll splurge for the proper stuff. This has a little crack in it, but I think it should be okay. Hopefully the cake will like seal it in place. The cones should be okay to cook. I have researched the, well, I mean, if they come out terrible, again, this is just a test. You all can laugh at me at that point. But in the research that I've done, there have been a great number of white mom Pinterests that have tried to push this kind of recipe, and none of them have talked about having issues with that. Honestly, now that I'm thinking about it, I have no idea what comprises an ice cream cone. I had the box, but like everything else at the start of the stream, I don't fucking know where I got off to. Let me move these over a little bit. Because I have a bunch, and I figure the more that I put together, the higher the chance that one of them will be edible. Come on. Come on. There we go. Yeah, that is kind of a side effect of watching somebody bake, isn't it? Honestly, though, you're lucky. You don't have to smell them. I have to stand here for like the whole 20 minutes they'll be in the oven and just know that they're back there. I mean, granted, I'll be able to try them when they're done, so I guess really I'm the lucky one, but you know what I mean. All right, then. So, I started off with some really weird cupcakes because as opposed to a regular cupcake paper, these have significantly less space in them, meaning that I cannot put the same amount that I normally do. I will say, just as, you know, a teaching thing, if you ever make cupcakes, get a scoop. One of the biggest issues is people not knowing how to properly eyeball putting batter into the cups. And even if you have one cupcake that has slightly more batter than the rest, like if you test a cupcake that has less batter than the rest, it's going to be done before the rest of them are done. And then you have one cupcake that's good, and then another like 20 cupcakes that aren't. Alternatively, if you test the cupcake that has more batter, it'll take longer to be done, but that means you might accidentally burn the rest of your cupcakes in the meantime. So using a scoop so you make sure you have the exact amount. This had a cute little top that made it look like a cupcake. You can actually see how it looks like a cupcake paper. But this is something that I got from Walmart, and it is the exact amount of batter you should put in the average cupcake. The little top bit was for the exact amount you needed for a mini cupcake, which I thought was really cute, but I don't do mini cupcakes, so it's been lost to time. But yes, if you can, this was like maybe $5 at most, because it was just Walmart, I guess. But yeah, get a scoop, because it will save your life. And for someone like me, who wants to make sure that every cupcake is uniform, this is a lifesaver. Let's see, where'd that knife get off to? But again, the ice cream cones that we're using here do not have the same space as an average ice cream cupcake paper, rather. So I'm just going to have to eyeball it. The recipes have all stated that I should be putting half of this ice cream cone, filling it halfway up. So I'm going to start by just scooping a little bit out. I do not know. Honestly, I should check now that I'm like trying to teach people, I guess. I should compare it to my other measuring cups that I have, but I do not currently know the exact amount of space that's in this thing. So I guess what I'm saying is support capitalism. Go and buy one. Don't try to do it yourself. That's counterintuitive. I think that might be a little bit too much, actually. It's all right. I'll know for the next one. Spoiler warnings, guys. This is the really boring bit. This is the bit that takes the most time. Like, yeah, I have to wait 20 or so minutes for them to bake, but... Breaker, if you're watching, I saw that. It didn't show up in chat, but a friend of mine just screamed, "Take your shirt off." No, this is not that kind of stream. These are not those kind of cupcakes. Shame on you. Fast forward. I don't have that capability. I do not. Like, if I were to take this footage and try to, like, edit it down for, say, rewatching on YouTube, then yeah, absolutely, I do that. But, unfortunately, unless y'all just leave, please don't leave, y'all are stuck with this. But yeah, no. This is the most time-consuming task. Which is a shame. God, I fucking wish. I think I've spoken to some of you about this before, about the Coop Cakes thing and how I'm trying to open it as a local business. Under Florida law, I cannot run a bakery out of my home unless I fall into a very specific category. They refer to them as cottage businesses, and they are meant to be used for, like, grandma and grandpa farmers who never got a big brand deal with Lay's potato chips, and they just want to sell their goodies, their canned stuff at, like, county fairs and whatnot. Under Florida law, if you're selling food, you have to go through a whole bunch of hoops and whatnot, licenses and all that, in order for it to be legal. And of course, the average grandma and grandpa down here, they don't have time or money for that. So they invented cottage food businesses. There are some limitations to what I can and cannot do as a cottage food business. One of them is use any machine that you could not find in a regular kitchen. I can't get any fancy ovens. I can't get any large machine mixers, which, I mean, makes some sense. You know, whenever you have a law that gives an exception, you're going to have people who try to take advantage of that. And all it takes is one guy investing in all this big level equipment, but stuffing it into his own house and claiming, yeah, no, I'm a cottage business. That's not good. That's not what it's here for. I'm only allowed to use the oven that is already established in my home. And as much as I would love some sort of machine that just automatically spat out the exact amount of cupcake batter into all the tins at once, even if I could afford something like that, that would not count. If I wanted something like that, I would have to physically become like a proper storefront. I would need to rent or buy another property, turn it into an actual proper bakery, but then I'd have to worry about the FDA and all that other stuff, and like, I do not have the capital. The oven is a speedrun tool. I mean, you think about it, Jen, if I didn't have the oven, if I were like trying to do this over like a campfire or something, it would take a lot more than 20 minutes. So I guess the oven could count as a speedrun tool. I'll accept that. Also, hey Ars, I've been meaning to ask you, how do you pronounce your name? Is it Ars or is it Ars? Just wondering, just curious. What's that? It sounds like arse? What I'm getting is that it sounds like arse. No, I'm just kidding. Almost done. I've lost about 2 or 3 people during this segment, which honestly, I cannot blame you. They're gone, so I can't like apologize to them directly, but, you know, on a cosmic level, I'm sure they've forgiven me. Almost there. And before anybody asks, no, I did not prepare any of this before the show. So I'm not going to pop these in the oven and then surprise you all and move right next to the next bit. Unfortunately. Alrighty then. I'm going to put just a little bit more in this one here because it doesn't seem level. If these puff up too much, at least they'll all puff up too much together. Alrighty then. I'm going to take my microphone for just 1 second so I don't accidentally knock everything over trying to get this in the oven, which is behind me. Give me just 1 moment. Alright. Let's wish these guys luck. In my defense, I really did expect that this camera would focus more on my face, but then I lost any vision of the working section. So you know, whatever. Hello, Carol. I'm glad you could make it. Alrighty then. You literally just missed me putting the cupcakes in. We're making ice cream cone cupcakes today. Oh. You think we're done? I still have all this batter left over, and I am not about to waste it. Or you know what? It could probably sit for a second. You guys probably want to see something else, don't you? Yeah. But wait, there's more. Of course there's more. There's enough batter in here for at least 24 cupcakes. And again, since I'm using actual butter and milk as opposed to water and oil, more than that. Let me put this away. Okay, fine. Hi, Carol. Put this back. All right. Let's put this away for a second. We'll come back to that. Because in the meantime, we are going to make the frosting. The frosting is the fun bit, to be honest. But before I do that, I need to wash off these, the mixer real quick. Carol, if your internet is lagging out and you can't watch it, that's fine. I will be saving these streams so you can watch them after the fact, I guess. I mean, it's not the same thing. But it is an option if you feel so inclined. But I appreciate you being here. I appreciate you all being here, to be honest. Almost got these clean. It sucks because I only have the one set of the paddles for the mixer. Why not lick them? Well, first of all, while the eggs that my chickens lay are safer than the eggs you get in the store. Oh, fuck. Well, you all saw that. Phone's fine. I'm fine. Everyone okay? That's embarrassing. That's actually really embarrassing. Thanks, Rad. You're a trooper. Alrighty then. I saw that happening. I knew that would happen at some point. I need to get some sort of extension for this microphone. Because since I am using my phone and not a computer, my range is quite limited. What was I saying before that happened? Yes, raw egg is very unsafe. And also, it does contain raw milk and raw butter, which I do have an allergy to dairy. So while I will be testing, I did have a little lick of it when I finished mixing it. You didn't see, it was off screen. I did have a little look of it, make sure it tasted fine, and I will be taste testing the frosting when it's done. But good. Okay, we're good. But no, I would not lick the paddles. Alrighty then. Roller coaster simulator. Sure. We'll just say that I have a roller coaster segment in between. That's nice. Oh shit! You know what else I forgot to do? This is also embarrassing. I didn't set the timer. All right. I am just a bundle of nerves. I'm sure you can tell. Yes, frosting. Okay. A roller coaster view of the house. No. Maybe sometime when my office is actually done, I'll show people if this streaming thing becomes a regular deal, which is what I am kind of aiming for, but you never know. Alrighty then. So, I make buttercream, proper buttercream. I was telling earlier in the stream, for people who showed up late, it's fine to make your cake from a cake mix. You know, there's nothing wrong with using a cake mix as long as you doctor it up and make it not necessarily your own, but better than what the average recipe is. However, you need to make your own frosting. Like, people call me pretentious here, but canned frosting is just... Yes, actually, you all do hear Wrigley, and he's coming right here. Wriggles! Wrigley! Hey, boy! Your adoring audience would like to see you. Let's see if I can't just pick this up. Hello! Who's that? You're blind. You can't see anything. But yeah, hi, guys. This is Wrigley. He came out to get some water, and he's very confused as to what I'm doing right now. But, you're a good boy. Let me put you down. No, you're done. That was your cameo. You can go on now. Bye. He has no idea what's happening. Yes, Carol, he is here. You can watch it back later. Okay. Oh no, I distracted him, so he's forgotten what he came out here for. He's going back to bed. Oh, poor little guy. Yeah, his memory is going. Bless him. All right, I was saying something. What was I saying? Yeah, buttercream. I was on my soapbox about frosting. I hate canned frosting. Like, I'm sure y'all are like, whatever, it's canned frosting, it's fine, but I've been eating the good stuff for a while now, and I can't do it. So I make my own buttercream. Going back to the cottage business thing I was talking about earlier, when I become an official business, I can't use buttercream. Something about the dairy industry and having a tight hold on the region, I don't know. But unless I get FDA approval, I cannot use pure butter and buttercream. Because unlike the cakes where it has been baked, buttercream technically counts as a raw dairy. Do you need closed captioning? Is there a closed captioning option on this? Or are you talking about you explaining what's going on, like in a DM or something? I'm still trying to figure out how Twitch actually works. I don't know what stuff is available to me. And again, I'm using mobile. So like, I know I have less than the average Twitch streamer does. Just bake the buttercream. Thanks, Ramon. Yes, that will help. But no, there is specific shortenings that I can use to replace the butter, or use half of it instead of the butter, that will make it legally shelf stable. Because like, you think about it, if you fuck up dairy, like that's a big fuck up. You know, dairy can go bad real quick. A lot of people can get sick, and it's just not good. It's not good at all. So it sucks because I can't just make my regular buttercream and sell that, but I understand. My go-around is to use shortening. Shortening frostings have been used in place of butter frostings for decades. The problem with that is that Crisco, I want to say 2010, 2011-ish, changed their recipe. They decided that their shortenings would have no trans fats, which is really stupid because, let's be honest, shortening is vegetable lard, okay? It's lard. Anybody who's worried about their trans fat intake is not going to be using Crisco for anything. Like, come on, man. But they wanted to chase the health crowd, so they started changing out the ingredients so that they could, because they couldn't just like laser pinpoint each individual trans fat. That's not a thing. They had to alter their ingredients to, Carol says, I fucked up dairy once, but it turned out well in the end. I mean, okay, maybe no one died, but I'm pretty sure. All right. Okay. I guess I just don't have the power of love. But yes, Crisco had altered their ingredients to remove anything that added the trans fats so they could get down to that 0 trans fat rating they were going for. The problem is, in doing so, they ended up just filling it with a bunch of stuff that chemically altered the state of the Crisco. And like I said earlier, baking is all chemistry. If you do something wrong, or if you add too much of something, it alters the result. So I tried making Crisco frosting because I thought to myself, oh, I have some Crisco. I'll just put some powdered sugar and some milk in there, mix it all up, there we go. And took a taste, and it had this disgusting aftertaste. I don't even know how to explain it. It was like nutty, but not a good nutty. It was just, it was so gross. And no, I could not sell that. I wouldn't want to give that to an enemy. I literally wouldn't want to give that to anyone. I should probably be doing stuff while I'm talking with my hands, shouldn't I? These are the third cups. Did I not grab the big measuring cup? I did not grab the big measuring cup because of course I didn't. Let me, I'm alive. I'm okay. I'm cool. I gotta stop doing that. Yes, we're good. We're back. Okay. What was I saying? Right, the shitty frosting. Crisco went on this trans fat chase, this health chase. And it worked. It actually got their sales up. They actually managed to convince people to buy more Crisco because now it had fewer trans fats. So naturally, every other company started going after as well. There is, to my knowledge, no shortening sold in the US that has the same chemical composition as the shortening that bakers have been using for their buttercream for decades. If I wanted to make butter-free buttercream frosting and not have it taste disgusting, I have to order it in large quantities from the UK, which is fine. I've run the math. If I wanted to get a big thing of it, like invest a bunch of money, I could, and it would only like raise the cost of my individual like batches of cupcakes by like $1. You know, that's fine. I already have a bit of a profit on my cupcake pricing, so I could just absorb that. It wouldn't be an issue. The problem is that I would still have to invest like $250 at once. And I'm still not entirely positive that I have the clientele to make this be profitable, much less be able to invest that much money at once. Like, Carol asks, is this even possible? Yes. Yes, it is possible. I could do it through Amazon, no less. I could get it here, but it, again, would cost like $250. It's not the greatest. Alrighty then. So, I got the butter. I've got currently 2 cups of powdered sugar. My buttercream generally uses 3, but if I put all the if I put all of the powdered sugar in at once and start mixing it, then you're going to see a big poof cloud of powdered sugar go over everything, and then I won't know how much sugar is actually in the mix. So, you know. No, Rad. The power of Gata is not the power of money. I have the power of believing in myself half the time, but I do not have the power of money. That is what I am severely lacking. So, 2 cups of powdered sugar in here already. I'm going to mix this up, add a little bit of milk, add a little bit of vanilla, and then check the consistency to figure out how much more powdered sugar I need. Unfortunately, this requires the mixer, so if you guys are going to be muting yourselves, you might want to do it now. You have been warned, and my next stream, if there is a next stream, I'll see about getting some kind of mute button. I am really, really, really sorry. And I forgot to pull out the vanilla. Because, of course I did. Hold on. No, that's lemon extract. I'm not putting lemon extract. Here we are. Yeah, these are really cute, aren't they, ours? I have a whole set of them. They come in most every color of the rainbow. Honestly, the funnest part of baking is being able to buy these cute little kitschy kind of things to bake with, because then you feel like you know what you're doing. You feel like you're in control. It's really neat. Come on. Oh no. Oh no, I only have half the amount of vanilla that I actually need. Ah! I had more vanilla than this, didn't I? Well, you know what? If you guys can keep a secret, I'll only use half the vanilla because you're not getting any. I'm going to eat this. So, if it doesn't quite taste right to me, that's fine. Alrighty then. And again, Shh, don't tell anyone, but I'm just gonna get a little taste. It tastes all right, but the consistency is a bit too creamy. So I'm going to want to add a little more powdered sugar just to stiffen it up a little bit. One of the other reasons why I hate the canned frosting is because it melts so easily. Even at room temperature, it starts kind of falling over and like separating, and that's no. If you have, like, say, ice cream that just went all over the place, that's one thing. But when you have, the whole point of having buttercream is that it looks great, it tastes great, and it holds its shape. So I'm going to get one more cup. Now, technically, 3 cups of powdered sugar is not the recipe. The recipe that you'll see on the internet most times call for up to 4. That is because the consistency and flavor of the butter you're using factors into how much sugar you want. If the butter you're using tastes sweeter than usual, you'll probably want a little less sugar. If the butter you're using is like more plasticky, more waxy, you're gonna want to use more sugar to drown out that waxy aftertaste. Oh, here's something. The cupcakes are done, or should be done. Let me check on them real quick, and I'll be right back. Well, this is interesting. Let me... Alrighty, guys. I'm going to grab the camera here and move it over to the oven here. Hi. Alrighty then. So, as you can see, not all of the cupcakes rose the same amount. Like, this one is significantly smaller than the rest. Like, it's way down in there, like, damn. And then this guy popped up properly, but none of them really came up high enough to make it look like there was already a dollop of ice cream in there, which was my initial, like, this is why I wanted this recipe. I filled most of them halfway up. I'm guessing there might have been an air bubble underneath these two that I didn't like mix it in properly to make sure it was battered all the way down. But that's good to know. They came out looking good, at least. They look edible. Oh, pardon me. So we're going to put frosting on top of them anyway to make them look like ice cream cones. So it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. Thank you for the closed captioning help, Jen, by the way. I appreciate that. All right, well. I'm going to let those cool for a second. The oven is still on because, again, I do have all that extra batter. After I finish messing around with this frosting, we'll switch to that and let the ice cream cone cupcakes cool a bit. And then once they're cool, I'll show you how I frost them. So stay tuned, I guess. I don't know. Going to use a mixer again, guys. Mute. Sorry. Alrighty then. Ta-da! Buttercream. Let me get another little swipe. This is good. This is good. Jun says, there's supposedly dollops of ice cream on top. They didn't come out like God wanted. I wonder what would have worked better. What would have worked better is that I put more batter in them. I only filled them halfway up because I didn't know how high they would go when they expanded, and I didn't want them to like bust through the ice cream cone when it happened. But now that I know that only filling them halfway only brings most of them right to the top, I'm going to want to put more batter the next time I do it. And I don't know if the quality of the cone actually affected how the cake inside baked. I'll have to test that with a higher quality ice cream cone, but I don't have those on me right now. So, something for me to learn later. I'm going to put this mixer away because that's done. All right, let me clean up my space just a little bit. These guys are still way too warm, so I'm going to switch over to doing something boring, and I apologize. I'm going to start putting the rest of that batter into the proper cupcake tin, just so that I don't waste any of it. As weird as this may sound, I wish I had a disposable income where I could just say, I don't need this batter and chuck it. But even if it takes more time out of my day, even if I'm exhausted and I just want to say, no, I made the cupcakes I have to make, I'm done, I do not like wasting batter. Like, even if it's only like one cupcake's worth of batter left, I try to put it into something. Because it's a waste otherwise, you know? It's just, I can't stand it. And it's not like it's not going to get eaten. Z Warrior says, Gotta, I need a favor from you in the future. I need you to make a cupcake that looks like a bar of soap and mail it to Spike. I could possibly do that. I don't know how it would look exactly like a bar of soap. It would depend on what you think of a bar of soap and what I think of a bar of soap. Actually, you know what? Hold on. Wait a minute. Back it up a little bit. No, I do not mail food. Even if it is not meant for consumption, even if it is not intended to actually be eaten, I do not mail perishables. This is a point of contention between me and Carol, because Carol is in Brazil, I'm pretty sure, and is constantly trying to convince me to send her cupcakes. I don't do that. One, because it's ridiculous. And two, because it's actually kind of illegal. I could probably make a bar of soap, though. I could make an actual bar. You know what? Actually, my wife was trying to get into that. She has like the special like molds and everything to make your own soaps, but she hasn't done it yet. I think she has a candle making kit too, but again, she hasn't done that. But yeah, no, it's kind of illegal. As a cottage industry, oh, I have something on my phone. There we go. As a cottage business, I am limited to only selling directly to people. I can't go to a supermarket and say, hey, would you like to sell my cupcakes? Can't do that. I cannot have someone order cupcakes and then I ship them to them. I can't do that. I have to physically take the cupcakes, hand them over, and receive money. They can order the cupcakes online. They can come meet me somewhere in the local area, but I still have to, me or my employee, has to be the ones to hand the cupcakes over. Otherwise, that again, I would need like FDA approval and all that, and I don't have the money or the time to actually go through all of that stuff. Which again makes sense. As I was mentioning earlier, the cottage food law is intended for grandma and grandpa who want to sell their canned beets at the farmer's market, right? It's not meant to be a workaround so much as it is meant to be a starting place. If I end up earning over $15,000 in a single year, which if I am successful could actually happen, that's profit, mind you. Then I legally have to change from a cottage food business to a proper business. I would then have all the responsibilities of getting a physical location, of building a storefront, all that stuff. I would have to switch from it being in my kitchen to it being an actual physical location where I am open for business on a regular schedule. And while that's the pipe dream, that's like the long-term maybe. But right now, I cannot do that. If and when that happens, then I could potentially mail cupcakes. But that's not even on like my 5-year plan. That's like maybe my 10. I started rambling and I haven't been following chat. What the fuck are you guys talking about? Anyone on the East Coast? We taking a road trip to Gatta's for cupcakes. I mean, maybe we do have the one guest room now. We have the guest room now. We have my office. Roommates moved out. So now we actually have space to have people come over. So, you know, if you're in the area and you hit me up ahead of time. I say that only because I know specifically everyone who is in this stream right now. This is an invite to no stalkers. Does Central Ohio count as the East Coast? No. No, it doesn't. Ooh, I should probably mention this. I made carrot cupcakes for the first time 2 days ago. I still have one package. They don't look all that pretty because I didn't try to gussy them up any. My wife, she works at a vet's office, and her coworkers are like my guinea pigs. They're the ones who test all of my different cupcakes for me. They don't know that they do that, of course. I don't tell them that they're test batches. Whenever there's a special event, I'll just make them cupcakes and I'll send them over. And then I'll say, hey, I'm always open for suggestions. Tell me what you think. And they usually have good advice. It's mostly them going, oh, it tastes so good. And I'm like, no. I want criticism. Like, tell me something about it that I can change, that I can fix. They've had a couple of people leaving the business recently. So for their final day, they've gotten into the habit of requesting that Jessica get me to make them cupcakes. And it's usually stuff that they already know they like. I've got a lot of requests for red velvet. Everyone seems to think they love red velvet cupcakes when there's not. Red velvet cupcakes are just chocolate cupcakes with a different consistency, guys. Like, it's not even that big a deal. You know what? I'm gonna rant on red velvet cupcakes. That's not what I'm going for. I'll tell you guys about that later. Remind me to tell you about red velvet cupcakes. It's a whole story about their history and whatnot. But Jessica, there was a little bit of powdered sugar that hadn't broken up in there. That should be fine. Not powdered sugar. This is the batter. Yeah, I use the mixer as opposed to mixing it by hand because it means you're less likely to come across those clumps. Even if 11 of the 12 cupcakes in the dozen are absolutely perfect, like there's absolutely no way you could possibly find anything wrong with them, if you find one cupcake that has a burst of powder still in there and you bite into that and that explodes in your mouth, it ruins the entire experience and therefore my credibility. I had that happen to me once, and that person to this day does not eat my cupcakes. Like, they'll smile and they go, oh, thanks, but I'm good. But it's ruined them entirely. I can't believe Gatta's number one enemy are red velvet cupcakes. No, they are not my number one enemy. I'll get to that at a later date. But yes, that's why I use the remixer, just because it lowers the chance of that happening. And I would prefer that, especially since I do plan on selling these one of these days. I would really rather not lose clientele just because something wasn't mixed properly. You know what I mean? Z-Man asks, isn't your number one enemy all of chocolate? It's not really my enemy, as it is more my natural predator. Like, it's not that we have anything against each other. It's just a circle of life. You know? Lions eat the antelopes. Antelopes eat the grass. Chocolate causes my body to seize up, and then I suffocate and die. You know what? I knew this was going to happen. I've talked about so much shit. I've been going on tangent after tangent. I forgot how I even started on this. What was I talking about? I don't know. I don't know. I won't know unless I watch the feedback. But that's after the stream. Right now, I'm completely lost. I've lost all sense of direction. What am I doing? No, nothing is currently in the oven, but it is still on because these guys are going to be going in when I'm done with them. It might waste a little electricity, but it means I don't have to wait for the oven to like reheat itself. My oven is an old model. No, Z, Jun isn't a bot. He's just... Man, I wish I had a bot that automatically transcribed what I said. I highly doubt it would be as good. Yeah. No, but my oven is an old model. It doesn't tell me what temperature it is inside the oven. It shows the temperature that I've set it to, and then a little light will go on when it matches that temperature. So it could be 10 degrees lower, it could be warmer. I wouldn't know. All it'll say is that, yeah, it's about 350 degrees, and then the light will go on. But no, Carol, who, I'll admit, is kind of the primary reason I'm doing this stream, is dealing with internet issues. So instead of being like a half an hour behind... Whoa, did the focus on this go out? Hey, there we go. Instead of being like a half an hour behind and trying to wait for it to load, Jun is just transcribing things in real time. I wish I had a bot that would do that. That would be amazing for anyone who's hard of hearing. That would be so cool. If these streams become a regular thing, if this is actually entertaining enough that you guys want to keep watching me doing this sort of thing, I might actually try to cut it down so that it's like YouTube watchable, maybe? And if that happens, I have a couple of friends who have said they're willing to do captions for me in different languages. I've got a friend over in Italy who is absolutely down. Absolutely 100% down. I got a friend who knows some Japanese. Carol knows Portuguese. Oh, no. See, this is what I'm talking about. This is exactly what I'm talking about. I don't know if you can see, but like, where's the camera? All that powder? Is someone bit into that? Like, that's not good. That's not good at all. Let me dump this back in. I don't normally find these many bundles of powder. It's probably because I didn't mix it as much. I'm really self-conscious about this. So I didn't make the mixer go as long as I normally would, just so that you guys wouldn't have to be muted as long. So that's kind of really embarrassing. But I guess it is what it is. You'll all forgive me, right? Get this shit out of there. The powder of love. I'm not self-conscious about the powder. I'm self-conscious about the streaming. And everything that I'm doing on stream. I have once again forgotten what I was talking about. Somebody remind me. Choose a tangent. Pick a tangent. Any tangent. I'll talk about that tangent. The curse of streaming takes Murphy's Law into account 50% more often than when not. Yes, absolutely. Red velvet. Yes, red velvet. Okay, so the red velvet cupcakes, the cake mixes that we have like in the States in the modern day, is not actually red velvet. The original red velvet cakes, I believe they were French, were made with a very specific kind of cocoa bean. They were chocolate cakes, but they were made with a very specific breed of cocoa bean, which was very red. And that's what gave the cakes the red velvet look. It wasn't as deep a red as what we think red velvet cakes are nowadays, but they were still very red. Unfortunately, this particular cocoa bean, even then, I think it was the 20s or the 30s when it became popular, like, overseas. It's rare. It's hard to grow, harder to get a hold of, especially if you want to make the cake in vast quantities. So, if companies overseas, or like restaurants, wanted to have red velvet cakes, they would have to figure out something else. So, they started making regular chocolate cakes, adding some buttermilk to it instead of regular milk, so that would have a different consistency, closer to the original red velvet cakes. But then they would add dyes in order to get it the red color that everyone expects. The use of that dye is why we think of red velvets as being this deep, 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 deep red, when that wasn't always the case. But of course, since it was brought from France over to like the US and other territories, that particular style of cake ended up becoming the norm. Also, the original red velvet did not use cream cheese frosting. That is 100% an American thing. The original frosting, which I have yet to try, I have a recipe for it, I've been meaning to do it, but whenever somebody wants red velvet cupcakes, they don't want me to show up with this fancy-pantsy French frosting. They want cream cheese, right? That's what they want. Red velvet these days is nothing more than a vehicle to get cream cheese frosting from out of your body to into your body. The original frosting was boiled. Like, straight up boiled. You put the ingredients together, you boil it for a bit, you whip it up, and then that's what you use. I haven't tried it myself. I've never come into contact with it, but I'm assuming that when it's done, it has sort of the consistency of like a whipped cream frosting. Yes, thank you, Rad. But boiled. Oh, I'm gonna have just enough for one more cupcake. Just one more. Okay. I think it has the consistency of whipped cream frosting. Jen, I'm unsure, because I have not tried it yet. But yeah, whenever I go to make red velvet cakes, they just want it with the cream cheese frosting. So I've never had a chance to actually do it. And like, again, it's a chocolate cake. I can't eat it. So unless I'm making it for someone else. Don't worry, Jen. Don't worry, don't worry. You gotta make sure your frosting has no bone powder. That's true. That's true. I do not want any bone powder in my frosting. That just doesn't seem right. All right. I'm going to go away for just 1 second. I'm going to get these in the oven, and then I'll come back. And that was kind of a, not a great ending, an anti-climax there, but that was kind of the entire red velvet story, so I'm sorry. Red velvet cakes aren't actually red velvet cakes, and cream cheese frosting isn't actually what you're supposed to have on red velvet cakes, but America. Yay! All right. And the ice cream cone cakes are about cool enough, so I'm going to switch over to doing frosting stuff. Yay! There we go. Let me grab. My frosting bags. No, I haven't forgotten to set the timer this time. I got it. We're good. I've learned my lesson. Hello. This thing keeps unfocusing. I'm not sure how I can fix it. But okay. So, switching over to frosting. Let me just mix this up a little bit, make sure I got from the bottom. Because sometimes the mixer doesn't, the paddles don't quite reach every corner. So I just want to make sure the whole powder thing is less of an issue with frosting than it is with the batter. Because as opposed to, you know, the powder for the cake mix being like flour and baking soda, the powder in here is just powdered sugar. If you get a bus full of a face full of that, it's more of a funny thing than a, ew, gross, I don't want to eat any more thing. It just kind of gets all over you. But if there happens to be any vanilla extract that isn't properly mixed in, that's a game changer. That's, ugh, God. I had a friend once who was home alone. This poor girl should not have been left home alone. She had this thing of vanilla extract, pure vanilla extract, and she thought to herself, ah, I like vanilla. I wonder what this tastes like. So she took a swig. Yeah. I wish I had been there to see her face. I wish I had been there to see her face. But alas, I was not. I've only heard the story secondhand. But she gets this, like, 50-yard stare. Like, just stares off into the sunset. War flashbacks. Yeah, okay, so ours has done it too. Ours has done it too. Fucking rip ours. I am so sorry. How are you still alive? Alright. So, frosting. Got my frosting bags here. I have my frosting tips up here. Oh, hello, Nico. I'm glad you could have a cameo. Let's see here. So yes, I have these 3 different tips. Move into the camera. Aha. And I'm trying to, I think this is the one, this one in the middle is the one that I want to use. I don't have enough frosting. You know what? I was planning on showing what each of the 3 different tips did, but I don't think I have enough frosting to properly do that. So you know what? I'm going to hold it off and be better prepared next time. So the goal of these cupcakes, the ice cream cone cupcakes, we're back on that bullshit, is to make it look like an actual ice cream cone. That's the novelty. Just having cake inside of an ice cream cone, I mean, I guess it adds a crunch to the cupcake, but I don't know. I wouldn't purposefully choose to, like, if I had the option, I wouldn't eat more than 1, I guess, is what I'm getting at. So making it look pretty is really the point. It is an aesthetic thing. So I am going to raise this up a little bit so you can see. Hello. Hi. So you can see how I fill the bag. This is something that I had to learn really quickly when I first started training as a cake decorator, and it's I'm not going to say it's hard. I'm not going to say, oh, this is something that takes tons of practice, but it's nowhere near as easy as you first think. All right. So what you got to do is you got to have your hand kind of like you got a puppet. You're going to want your fingers to be tenting this rim here and holding it in place. And then as you're scooping it in, yeah, I didn't show you how to do the thing. Yeah. I didn't explain putting the tip in. Oh well. This isn't a tutorial series. But yes, as you put the frosting in, you kind of want to use your hand to like nom nom it up. Nom nom. Because you don't want any air bubbles in there. And once it's in, you're not an awful transcriber. Jen, you're doing your best. I'm talking a lot. Don't worry about it. What was I saying? I lost my train of thought again. Air bubbles. Yeah, you do not want air bubbles because unlike most things, the bubbles don't go up. They don't rise to the surface harmlessly. They get pushed through the bag with the frosting. Which means that when you have what you think is an uninterrupted stream, you got a perfect line of frosting going, air bubble, poof, and it ruins the line. And I cannot tell you how many times I have had to make last-minute fixes trying to salvage the look of a cake because one air bubble destroyed the thing. You know what, actually? Got an air bubble right here. This guy is going to be a bitch. Oh well. Alrighty then. And I do still have some more frosting in here. So let me just shoot up. Haha, very nice. I'm going to put the camera back down, and then I'm going to grab the cupcakes, and then we will get frosting. All right. Good. Good. Is this still warm? This is still a little bit warm. Where can I put these so they won't necessarily be in the way, but they'll still be safe? Because oh, I did say a bad word, didn't I? I'm sorry. I apologize on behalf of everyone here at Coop Cakes. This is a family-friendly show? Question mark, question mark, question mark? Not really, actually. I'm not Arlo here. But yes, so let me grab, which cupcake do I want to frost first? I think I'm gonna go with this big guy. The guy who puffed up the most because he has a more level surface for me to work off of. Alrighty then. So, when you are frosting with a frosting bag, you want to cup it in your hand like so. Make sure you're pinching the bag closed so when you squeeze, the frosting doesn't shoot out the back. But you want to have a cup in your hand, and you just kind of want to squeeze it like this, as opposed to like trying to use your forefinger. It isn't like a toothpaste tube. A lot of people try using it like a toothpaste tube, and they're not able to get the amount of pressure they actually need. Because unlike toothpaste, like this is a dairy product, okay? Like, yes, this is a dairy product. It has a little more, it needs more pressure to properly move through, and you're trying to squeeze it through this little teeny tiny hole. So you want to be able to give enough pressure to actually move it. However, you don't want to use all the pressure. You don't want to just squeeze really hard because then it'll come exploding out of the end. You want to have perfectly controlled lines. You want to make sure you know exactly what your frosting is doing, where it is going. Squeezing like an unwanted child? Brad, what the fuck? You know, screw the family-friendly bit. Like, Jesus Christ. Okay. Yeah, no children. This is not a child. We're not squeezing children here. That's not happening. It is actually RAD, R-A-D-D. Close enough, though. But yes, you want to have proper control, which is why you want to use your whole hand, because then you can, finger by finger, decide how much pressure you want to squeeze. The only problem, this has stopped focusing again. Can I scoot this forward some? I'm going to scoot this forward just a bit, maybe. Oh, but now it's overbalanced. Let me pull this down here for a second. See if that helps a little bit, I guess. Yeah, this should do, right guys? This should, if I pull it back here, this should do. Get that mic cord out of the way. Alrighty then. What were we doing? Yes, my arms are quite hairy, which isn't as much of a health issue as you would think. I don't shed from my arms very much. Pull it forward a little more. Handle the camera like you would a child. Very carefully. No squeezing the camera. No squeezing. Alrighty then. I guess this will do. Someday, I would love to be able to have like 2 or 3 different cameras at once. Oh, pull the cup forward? Yeah, I guess so. We are focusing on the frosting, aren't we? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'll send a picture of my setup later, but like, I have this little teeny tiny camcord tripod dealio, and just, yeah. All right, what was I talking about? Fuck. Yes, proper control of the frosting. You do not want the frosting to come out too quickly, but you don't want it to come out too slow, because that gives you line breakage, where you think you got frosting coming out, but then there's none for a second, but you keep moving your hand because you're expecting it, and then you're like, oh, and trying to start from that spot and back, it's visible. You can see the lines where you had 2 different things of frosting, it's connecting. So, normally, when I frost cupcakes, I do it in a manner that doesn't cause it to build up. I want the frosting to fill all the space, but I don't want the frosting to pile on top of each other, because then it starts going up and up and up, and then you have a tall tip. Because that makes it look like, talks about frosting properly. Thanks, Jen. That makes it look like ice cream. And you don't want your cupcakes to necessarily look like ice cream. You want them to look like cupcakes. I personally have a crusade against using cupcakes as platforms for frosting. Cupcakes do not exist to just transport frosting into your mouth. The frosting cupcake ratio needs to be... Okay, fine. I'll rant about this another day. In this case, we do want it to look like ice cream. Hey, family friendly, I haven't officially stated that yet. I've been swearing a lot on this, so Z's perfectly fine. Alrighty then. So, and then we build it up a little bit to a tip right there. And what do you know? It looks like an ice cream cone. Simple as that. And that, like most everything I've said today, did not have near as much fanfare as I should have expected. Yeah, doesn't it look tasty? It looks real good. I haven't even added sprinkles to it yet. We'll get there. Alrighty then. So, now that you've seen that one close up, I'm going to put you back here, and then we're going to frost the rest. Yeah, it looks like a soft serve. The tip that you use really changes it. I specifically chose this tip because I knew how it would make the frosting look in the end. Had I used the bubble, the round tip here, it would not looked near as good. So, I'm just going to frost the rest of these. How are we doing? We have 3 minutes on those cupcakes. I don't know if I'm going to frost those cupcakes on stream. I might. I don't know if I have enough frosting now that I'm thinking about it. I had just enough butter for one batch of cupcakes and one batch of frosting, but because I'm not frosting these as flat as I would, like I was talking about earlier about how you don't want your cupcakes to look like ice cream. The main reason is because the higher you build it up, the more frosting you're using per cupcake. So while I could have used this batch of frosting to frost 24 regular cupcakes, I'm using more liquid on each individual cupcake. So I don't know if I'm actually going to have more than half the frosting I need to frost the stuff that's in the oven. But I am allergic to dairy, which means that if I do not have enough frosting, that just means more unfrosted cupcakes for me. Yeah, no, I can feel the bubble moving down. It's going to pop pretty soon. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it. Oh, yep, see? I don't know if you can see that behind this one, but it popped. And I can try to fix it. But, yeah, no, I'm out of frosting too. So I don't know if y'all can see this, but like right there's where the bubble popped. Had this been a professional cake, it would have been one cupcake in an entire like dozen or 24. People don't usually complain about that. But when you're a new decorator and you have bubbles on every cupcake, it gets to be a problem. It gets to be a problem. So now I'm going to need some more. This gets pretty messy because there's already frosting along the inside of the bag. So you have to be very, very careful. And of course, there's also frosting on the tip. There's no way I'm not getting frosting on me right now. But that's fine. That's fine. It isn't chocolate, so I'm not going to die. Although I do have gloves and masks for when I do use chocolate. So it's not the end of the world. Now, a problem that I'm having right now is, while you guys have been great, a very kind and supportive audience, I'm still nervous as all get out, which means that my hands are warmer than usual. The frosting is melting as I hold it because I am a nervous boy. And I normally have invested in a biohazard suit. You joke, but my wife has seriously suggested that I look into like full protective gear. That wouldn't do anything. Just chill your hands in the refrigerator for half an hour beforehand. I'll take that into account. All right. And then I'll just frost these real quick like. Thank you, Sue. Your advice of just hold on 1 second. I'm coming. I promise. Oh, I'm out of frosting again. 1 second, guys. Oh, and these came out looking nice. Ta-da! I'm turning this off. Thank you, Jen. Thank you. Alrighty then. Let me just get just enough frosting for this last one, and then I'll push all this off to the side. Yes, thank you, Z. I don't know what I would do without you. I'm worried about leaning over too far and accidentally brushing against one of these, because I'm not used to the cupcakes being this high up. Carol says, I think gotta should start saying gotta instead of tada. You know, that's not actually that bad an idea, Carol. It's really cheesy, and I'll probably make people hate me, but I'll think about it. How's that? Alrighty then. And I have just enough frosting for one, maybe two more cupcakes. So, you know, c'est la vie. Ah, well. I wasn't planning on frosting those anyway. So now comes the part that my wife hates. I take everything and just throw it in the sink. And then I leave it for like a full 24 hours until she finally goes, gotta, please do something with those. And I'm like, all right, I guess. All right. Let's see. All right, this is the last step, unfortunately. The last step is sprinkles. I wish I had rainbow sprinkles, like Rainbow Jimmies, because that's like the generic ice cream sprinkles you get. But no, I have an assortment of sprinkles. Sprinkles are expensive, guys. Like, they charge you out the ass for that sort of stuff. But they do last a very long time. So if I get something on sale, even if it's not like in season, it's usually good until next year as long as I don't open it up. So let's see here. I have these flowers that are a bunch of pretty pastel colors, kind of a springy look. I have these jimmies that are for Easter. So we've got pink and green, and come on, zoom in, focus. There we go. We got pink and green and orange and white in there. I have these red, white, and blue jimmies, which are meant to be used for, quote, I have Easter jimmies. I don't know how I feel about that, actually. Yeah, red, white, and blue for 4th of July. But ever since Trump was elected, none of us have felt like celebrating, so those kind of just sit. And then, at one point in my life, actually, no, there isn't a date on these. At one point in my life, I had to break down and admit that I did not have the time to make the frosting. So, my wife got me a can. And everyone who ate those cupcakes said, oh, it's so good, I love your cupcakes, gotta. And I just had to sit there knowing that they were eating some Pillsbury bullshit and they didn't know what they were doing. Forgive them, Father, for they have sinned. They know not what they do. But I saved the sprinkles from it. These are fish, I believe. They're little fishy shapes. Come on, zoom in. You can do it, buddy. Yeah, so we got different colored fish. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows that way. You know what? What do you guys think? What do you guys think? Which one should I use? We've got, I've already showed you all. I don't think we have another one. Did I grab one more? I have Christmas ones, but I'm not gonna bother with them. So yes, vote now on your phones. There is a delay on this stream, so I'm gonna have to wait a second. Jen makes a point. Spring is more appropriate. Fish. R says fish. Use America. Y'all are voting for different ones. And like there's only 8 of you here. So we actually could end up with a perfect tie. Carol, Christmas is not on the docket. I'm saving those. No. That's 2 for USA. Red, white, and blue are winning. Anybody else? There's 9 of you now. No, Carol, that doesn't count. You can't vote Christmas. No Christmas. You know what? I've lost track of who voted for what. So we had, I know for a fact, we have at least one of these, and we have the fish. I'm going to say I do half of them in this, half of them in the fish. They won't match whatsoever, but... Oh, this is the one that I messed up on. Oh, this has had the air bubble. Okay, I thought it was all melting, and that's like, no, that's not. Carol asks, Gata, how can you say no Christmas? Because, Carol, that means I'll have more when it is Christmas. They're the special ones. I have to save them for the most wonderful time of the year, October 31st at 11:59 p.m. Now, I should have opened this before I started streaming, but I did not, because of course I didn't. Nemo Goes West. Alrighty then. Now, this kind of goes against my personal philosophy. When it comes to sprinkles on a cupcake, less is more. A lot of people, when they get ice cream, they're just like sprinkles, every topping, all of it, just all at once. But when you have a cupcake, having too many sprinkles will actually turn people away. The sprinkles are not there to taste good, necessarily. They are there to make the aesthetic look nicer and to catch the eye. Just vanilla frosting on a regular cupcake, like, yeah, people will look at that and go, yum, but they won't stop and look at it as they're walking by. If you're trying to sell cupcakes, you want to splash a color in there to get someone to notice it. So, this does not have a shaker cap, which is, that's fine. I'm going to get a little bit out in my hand, and I'm just going to sprinkle ever so lightly. And most of the sprinkles are not going to fall on the cupcake. That's cool. That's fine. That's pretty good. Yeah, as long as the sprinkles are not opened, they're mostly just processed sugar and a lot of different dyes. So they're not going to mold. They might get a little stale. But I don't usually keep my cupcakes for more than a year. At the absolute most, if they're factory sealed. If they've been opened, then yes, I chuck them out. Alrighty then. So, what's the best looking one? I think this is the best looking one. And I will show it to you. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, come on, camera, focus. Dun, 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 dun. Now, I could have just obliterated this thing with sprinkles. And you know what? I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to absolutely destroy one of these cupcakes. Just to show you. Let's see. Which one's going to be my victim? I want to choose one that looks good now, so you can't accuse me of choosing the worst one. I'm going to do this one right here. And just sprinkles. All the sprinkles. Every sprinkle. So many fucking sprinkles. I'm overdoing it, aren't I? Yeah, I'm overdoing it. All right. And voila. It actually still looks edible. I actually still kind of want it. And honestly, that's probably because it looks like an ice cream cone. It looks like an ice cream cone, and this is just like, it's just the natural state of soft serve ice cream. Like, it's not, it's not like natural. But like, if you go out and get ice cream, you'll see at least one person with ice cream looking like this. So they didn't actually prove my point at all. Oh well. But take my word for it. Regular cupcakes, less is more. Now, I have to break through the seal on these fish. Oh hey, Kaiju Cutie 96. If you want some, you gotta come get some. Am I allowed to admit that we're related, Kaiju? Like, is that a thing you're cool with? Currently, this is all just my personal close friends. They're not gonna, like, stalk you or anything. And what is your hang title, actually? I don't know what you go... Yeah, you don't have a car. That's fair. Well, you fucking suck. You're just... Sorry. No cupcakes for you. I'm going to eat every last one of these without you. All right, so here are the fishy sprinkles. Legally, we're related. So, shut up. All right. Oh, I don't like these fishy sprinkles. Ugh. Their flat shape means they just slide down the slopes. But it looks all right, I guess. Yeah. Kaiju asks, aren't you allergic to the dairy in them, though? I'll still eat them just to spite you. That's how petty I am. What really sucks is when you have sprinkles that are like a multitude of colors, and all of the sprinkles of a certain color don't stick. Breaker, you wouldn't dare. Please don't. Not here. But yes, so depending on the kind of sprinkles you grab from the mix and how many of the sprinkles actually stick to the cupcake, you can have like a disparity. Like, I don't know if you can see it or if it's just my picky eye, but this cupcake has visibly more pink and green in it than any other color. And then you just have like a couple blue over here, and I think there's some purple. It looks off. Let me see if I can't find one with a good balance. This one seems all right. So this one has a little bit of everything. It is more blue than others. Sometimes if you're really, really unlucky and you only have like 2 or 3 colors in the sprinkles, you'll have an entire dozen which look like they're just one color because so many of the other color just didn't stick. And you're looking at it and you're like, this isn't the reality I wanted. But, c'est la vie, it's the reality that you are stuck with. So, whatever. Alrighty then. So, here we are. Ice cream cone cupcakes. Super simple, decently cheap. You don't need anything extra except for some ice cream cones and some sprinkles. And when they're done, they look adorable. If I were to make these to sell, I would want to alter my frosting recipe. Like, you probably can't see it, but at room temperature, they're starting to get a little shiny. They're starting to lose their shape a little bit, the frosting, that is. And if I wanted to sell these, I would want them to look good even if they were at room temperature. So I would need to maybe include more sugar, less butter. I might want to put something in there just to make it thicken a little bit. The issue is that because of their height, I wouldn't be able to fit these in a regular cupcake container. I would need to get a special box. And that is, honestly, just way too much effort. But they're really cute. I'm really proud of how they came out, actually. And I am going to have fun eating them, because you fucks get none. Ha! Yeah. Dude, bro, wear one of your aprons. None of them are within reach. Well, I mean, I'm not wearing a special shirt. I don't really care about getting frosting all over me. Like, I make cupcakes so often. I don't... No, it is not an excuse. There literally none are in reach. Unfortunately, I'm actually down to only one apron. I had two, but one got ripped up in the washing machine, which is a shame. And aprons are expensive. They want like 20 bucks for them. Like, nah. Nah. If it bothers you all that much, I'll make sure there is an apron on the next one. The next stream. Whichever that is. I don't have anything else I had planned, and I didn't really time this to make it feel like a proper ending, but I think that's going to be the end of the stream. Thank you guys very much for watching. I hope you liked it. I will be accepting any and all criticisms, and thank you again for supporting me. It really means a lot. Sorry for the guys who showed up at the last 10 minutes. I might make this a weekly thing. I don't know what I would make next time. I was planning on making these regardless, so it wasn't like I specifically planned this for a stream. But I do have a number of recipes that I had been intending to get through, so maybe I will test them out on camera with you guys. We'll have to see. But until then, my name is Gata, and thanks.